Okay, today is Christmas Eve. Today is Christmas Eve. And so I've been trading for 5 years, and what I've noticed is that when I'm mixed in the quagmire, when I'm within the quagmire of trading, I don't notice the big picture. The big picture is for me to solve an instantaneous or a pre-planned conditioning to create the outstretched and maximum full to the potential trade, and repeat that again and again and again. So what has been plaguing my mind, which I thought I knew I was doing, but it just never occurred to me. And what that requires me to do is to understand, I suppose within a day, there is a support and resistance area. And that support and resistance area defines where the price will move. Okay? But what was difficult for me to understand, what was difficult to understand is when a price moves near a support or resistance, how likely is it that it's going to move to the other side? Okay? How likely is it to move to the other side? That's something that I need to address. Because when I'm taking a trade, I'm unsure. But I want to be sure. Okay? And so when a trade is in a trend, the other part is, okay, so when a trade is when it's moving, I want to know, okay, so how far is it going to move up in that direction? Okay? Because what trading will do is it'll move to a location and then it'll fall right back down. Right? So those are the couple of questions that I need to answer. Okay? Because I see the setup. So when I see the setup, I see a setup that is that creates an environment where a critical decision is going to be made. Okay? So usually, so there's three things that can happen. It can go sideways, it can go up, it can go down. So when it's going down, there's a critical decision that is made every moment, which is, will it continue going down or will it move in the other direction? Okay? And then after that, it connects. Okay? So each point is a trifecta of possibilities. One, it goes sideways, it goes up, it goes down. So even if it's reversed, it's going up. Even if it goes up, okay? So, even if it goes up, it's not a sure thing that it's going to keep going up. There's there's a few things that are still an unknown at this point that I need to solve. Okay? There's a few things that has been plaguing me because I don't know. One of the things, so if I make a list of things that I don't know when I'm taking a trade is, okay, so when something is moving up, I don't know how far it's going to go up. When something's moving down, I don't know how far it's going to move down. Okay? And then the other thing that I don't know, so that would be the continuation kind of thing, right? That's the continuation. So the other thing that I don't know, is, because what I'm trying to trade is the trend reversal, but when I look at the trend reversal, in many of the cases, I'm wrong. Many of the cases that I'm wrong. All right, so what I had to do was size it so that even if I'm wrong, I want to be right, which means that I size it so much that even though I'm wrong, it's going to go against me for a while, and then eventually come back. Okay, so that means. So there's a few things that I still have not resolved yet. That's going to help me understand how to figure this thing out. There's a few more things that I need to figure this out. Okay? To improve. And the other part is understanding how I'm going to figure out how to cut my losses fast. So I need to really think about that. How do I cut my losses as soon as possible? That's the other thing. Right? So the thing is called, the dualities of trading. There are dualities of trading. How do I maximize my gain? And then how do I maximize my gain? And at the same time, how do I make sure I stop my losses fast? That's the dilemma that I have. Those are the things that are still in the equation. I need to figure that out. Okay, that's a pursuit that I need to keep achieving. So, okay, I got time right now. The market is closed for another 20 hours. Okay, so let's figure this out. Apparently, the Forex market and the futures market, it does observe Christmas Eve. It's a holiday. It's a Forex holiday. So, one thing at a time. So, what are the unknowns? Let's figure this out. See if you're able to maintain this while you're exercising. Okay. While you're exercising, see if you can maintain it. So. Let's look at the unknowns. What are the unknowns? The unknowns are pretty spectacular, okay? The unknowns are pretty spectacular because it's going to help me really become profitable. All right? So, okay. So I need to study up on stop losses. Obviously, because it could have, so I need to practice that. I have to practice. And the reason I allow it to slip through is because I haven't made it a significant factor in my trading, even though 5 years has passed. 5 years has passed and I still haven't made it a priority. Still haven't made it a priority to make light of the fact that how important stop loss is. The other part is, I suppose it required me to create a solid base. I needed to create a solid base. When I create a solid base, I can use that as a launching pad to a greater height. So in trading, losses will occur. How I handle that loss is going to minimize and retain my gains. And the other part is it allows me to figure out how to maximize my gains and make my time worthwhile. Okay? So when I understand those two concepts, okay, supplanted with solid strategy, solid plan, which encompasses those things, the trifecta of using a setup. So essentially what I have to do is increase my probability of trading. That's one. Second part is I need to be a master when I'm losing, okay? So how do I master losing? How do I master it so that I give the least amount? And then when I'm right, how do I milk it as much as possible, right? How do I milk that cow so that I maximize my potential of each trade, right? That's the idea. So so there's three things that I need to do. Okay, there are three things that I need to be constantly doing, okay? Three things that I'm doing, all right? Three things. One of them is creating a strategy that pinpoints me to enter into the trading environment. So the second part is to minimize my losses. Okay, and the other part is maximize my gains. Okay, how do I maximize my gains? One example is I don't know whether something is going to be in a massive upward movement or not. Okay, and so when I'm in a habit of like adding bigger and bigger sizes as the price moves up, what that's going to do is if it reverses, that big size is going to just ruin my trade. So I got to really think about. I got to think about. So essentially all my trading pieces has to be US grade A, top grade. It has to be US grade A, a very, very high quality beef type of a situation. Every piece has to be. If I build a ship and the ship surface area is 1,000 meters squared, okay? If the surface area is 1,000 meters squared, if one of those areas is very thin walled, something could happen to puncture it and then sink the boat, even though 99% of the boat is very, very strong, okay? So that means there are a trifecta of things that I need to do. Trifecta. Okay, the fourth is me, my person. There's four things that I need to do. It's to shore up my psychology. Okay, the me that I bring to the market. That's one. The second part is I have to know the A game. I have to bring the A part of me, and then I have to bring the A game of stop losses. I have to bring the A game of my setup strategy, and then I have to bring the A game of my maximizing gain strategy. So there are strategies that I need to employ in order to make sure that I'm giving my best. So in order to bring the aggregate of A++ to the game, I have to make sure each of the things that I'm doing needs to be an A++ situation. So I'm looking at it on a realistic basis, in time and duration. Now that I spent about 5 years, I'm asking myself constantly, you should know that already. You should know that already. You should already know because you experienced it over and over again. Okay, you've experienced it. Obviously, you can reduce this time by being smarter about the time that I suppose I could have spent my time, smarter time, by making sure that my time is better spent. Spending my time better is essentially making sure that I maximize, bring the A game. I have to bring the A game, A plus plus game. I have to bring the A plus plus game every time I trade. So there are 4 things that I need to constantly be thinking about. Okay. So this is I suppose what is called a self-actualization. Okay. Self-familiarity about myself and how to prepare myself to bring the A plus game. Okay. My A plus game needs to occur in a matter of bringing the A games on each part, each component, which is I have to bring the A game of the mind. I have to bring the A game of the losses, taking quicker losses. Then I have to bring the A game of the setups that I'm taking. And then I have to bring the A game of maximizing my gains. So those are the 4 things that are the pillars of trading. These are the pillars of trading. Okay? If you look at all the Roman Empire movies, there are pillars made of boulders. And there are pillars. And you got to have at least 4 of them to make sure that the square roof is held firmly, well held. Okay? So those are the pillars. Those are the pillars of trading. Okay? These are the pillars of trading. Pillars of trading. Okay? Those are the pillars of trading. Okay, I'm not sure. I don't know where I'm getting this stuff from. But it must be from heaven. So there are 4 pillars of trading, okay? The 4 pillars of trading, which are me, myself, and I. That's 1. Okay? That's what I need to bring. The second part is I have to bring the stop loss game, A plus stop loss game. So I minimize my losses. Okay? Then the third is bring the A game of maximizing my gain. Okay? That's another one. And the fourth is bring the strategy. I have to perfect a strategy that allows me to best my entry. Bring the A plus game up entry. Okay? Entry here, minimize my losses. Entry here to maximize my wins. And then I have to bring the A plus game of losses where if the price moves against me, then I'm done. I'm out of that trade. That's my A plus game. Then I have to bring the A plus game of maximizing my gain. That's the other part of the pillar. And the 4th pillar, again, is me. The psychology and the physical me into the market that helps me to further my understanding of the market. So those are the 4 pillars of trading. Okay, and when I understand those 4 pillars of trading, it removes the addiction and all the emotional things that comes into trading. That's how things work. That's how things work. There are 4 things that I need to be aware of. Okay, I need to constantly work on it, expand upon it. People talk about the Big Bang Theory. Okay, I suppose that's how mankind does it. Mankind does it by first planting a little seed. And that seed allows growth. And that growth becomes into a giant. And so what was nothing explodes, become a big bang, and expands and to become who we are and what we are today. However, there is this entity this God who created everything made it all possible. So that's how that works. So there are four pillars of a trading world. In the house of trading, there are four pillars. Okay, these four pillars shore up support, a firm support. It holds up against earthquakes. It holds up against catastrophic events, thunderstorms, hurricanes, tornadoes of life. And whatever the market throws out, those four pillars will provide stability and security. Okay? And it'll calm the waves. It'll ease the mind. It'll remove the worries. It'll be like the blade of grass mentioned in the Bible. The blade of grass does not worry because of the four pillars. Because the four pillars of trading, which is me, myself, and I. That's one. The second part is minimizing my losses. The second part is maximizing my gains. And then becoming an expert in entry. Those are the four pillars of trading. And if I want to become an excellent and profitable trader, I have to master those four things. Those are the four things that need to be shored up. It's like a great giant ship, the Titanic. Okay? It's a great big ship. But if any one of those welds at the bottom or the hull is breached because it's weak, it's going to sink, even though it's ginormously on the other fronts, incredibly resilient. But it cannot survive without those four pillars being an integral part of it. And the expansion of the four pillars allows me, myself, and I to finally label myself as a profitable trader, a consistently profitable day trader. That is the objective of anyone who enters into the market, unless you're masochistic and just like losing and just playing around, and you have a lot of time to spare, and you have nothing to do, like playing video games. Video games benefit a very few people, okay? But vast majority of people are just like those people, just like those people who are inside the matrix. They are in the matrix. They're in the matrix because they're just essentially a battery for the economy, okay? So if you like doing that kind of thing, being a battery to society, you can play the video game all you want to stoke your emotions, waste your time, and then Father Time will come by, and then all of a sudden you have to knock on the door of senior citizen nursing homes, okay? But I suppose I'm doing the same thing, but something that may be more worthwhile. That being worthwhile is essentially understanding what I'm doing as a trader. Essentially, it's a cornucopia of the subject matter that encompasses everything. It encompasses everything because trading is essentially, being an expert at it is the master of. See, that's why they say, okay, if you're a master of all, you're a master of none. Okay, because it's difficult to master all. But the fastest way to mastering everything is to master one thing and become incredibly good at it. Okay, then once I get to the point of being a master of that one thing, it becomes apparent what it takes to be a master of everything else. If my time is spent mastering everything else or wasting time on something else, then I become a master of nothing. But if I spend my time wisely and master that one particular thing that is useful at the moment, that mastery will translate into being a master of everything else as well. And I've experienced this throughout life. And the way that these things are conducted in society, it pinpoints and brings to highlight what's really going on. See, having been a Christian for a while, and I pray that I am, and may God be so kind to keep me a Christian as long as possible. And may God be understanding of my current predicament to free myself from being homeless. Okay? And working on improving myself. All right? So I pray to God that occurs. And that is to make sure that I fulfill the promise. Okay? The solution that I have chased for the past 5 years to become a profitable trader. I need to become a profitable trader. It is my occupation. Okay? That is a solution that I find worthwhile. And within all means of legality, it allows me to fulfill what I need in all different respects. And I want to make that happen. And I pray one of these days, I don't know when that's going to happen, but I pray that happens. So I continue on. So in trading, I have my determination, okay, which is the guiding light. That guiding light helps me to see what I need to see. And what I see right now are the 4 pillars of trading, the world of trading. The 4 pillars of trading is telling me, it has made itself conscious to me. It was hiding in the attics of the subconscious, out of sight, out of mind. Then as I started to exercise up and down these stairs, I began to understand what I need to understand. That understanding is knowing these 4 pillars of trading. These are the 4 pillars of trading. And I have become very familiar with it. Okay? And what I've been doing for the past 5 years, because I didn't see the significance of, it's like going up in the mountains, picking up every rock to see, and checking every rock to see if there's gold in it. Currently, gold is at about $4,500 per ounce. It's very expensive. Who knows, it could get more expensive. All right? People are mining it out of the ground like there's no end to the supply, but it's still incredibly expensive because the demand is outstripping the supply. That's why the price is climbing. If the supply is higher, then the price will decline. But currently the price is higher because the demand is higher than the demand. And the demand is higher than the supply. Okay, so that's the economics of the gold market. So now I need to focus on the respects of becoming a profitable trader. And becoming a profitable trader requires me to understand the significance of the 4 pillars. And one of them is the mastery of the self. The second is the mastery of the stop loss. And I'm saying the stop loss and the mastery, and I'm thinking, wow, how could that be? How could that be such a significant factor, significant subject matter in trading? But it really is. It seems like a child play the way that it's named, but it is very, very important. The self, the stop loss, the strategy, the maximizing my gain, okay, and then the entry. Those are the 4 subject matters that I need to perfect to shore up the pillars of what's going on. I need to perfect it. Once I perfect it, then that perfection will generate significant factors in contributing to my profitability. Okay? It's been 5 years now, Key. You can say that not when you're losing, but you can say that now. Okay? Because you know what work needs to be done. After 5 years, you realize what work needs to be done. Okay, after 5 long years, you finally figured out what work needs to be done. Okay, you have to shore up your pillars so that you can hold up your roof of understanding what's going on. Okay, that's what you need to do. You have to shore it up. You have to understand what's required, and those are the 4 pillars of trading. You have to. You must. It is a requirement. It is the absolute requirement to become, in total, in aggregate, a profitable trader. Okay? So I touched up upon it, but now I need to do the real work. Talking is easy, but implementing it is not. Okay? So at times they interact with each other. Okay? They interact. The psychology and the losing will intermingle and cause a catastrophic event that causes me to not function properly and not provide a solution that I needed to provide to the market. Okay? So, how do I change that? How do I make it work? How do I make it so that when I'm trading, I'm at the best solution that I can provide to the market, okay? So I need to make sure that those 4 things are always in tip-top shape when I'm trading. Because if any one of those slips, it has to be caught somewhere. And out of those, what's very important is the stop loss. Because so there's ABCDs of trading, okay? So if we call the D the stop loss, or the janitor of trading, okay? The custodian of trading is the stop loss, right? If my mental game is off, I'm gonna lose, okay? I'm going to lose because it's gonna shake the entry. It's going to shake the stop loss. It's going to shake the maximum gain, okay? And then if my entry's off, I suppose it's not as bad, because if my entry's off, then my stop loss will take care of it because my psychology is intact, okay? And so even if my entry's off, the loss is going to be a little bigger, but it's still okay. It's not a catastrophic event. And the other part is, so if I see the interactions of the 4 pillars, I can see what plays a greater factor in trading, right? So also, if I don't have an optimal, so psychology is very, very important because it keeps everything together. Psychology is the backbone of the 4 pillars. Okay, so there are 4 pillars, but psychology also shores up the other things. Okay, psychology shores up the other things. Shoring up the other thing is essentially backing it up, and psychology backs it up. Psychology backs up the stop loss, backs up the maximum gain, okay, and shores up the entry. Those are the 4 pillars of trading, okay? Those are 4 pillars of trading that allows me to make a difference. It allows me to, that's why, even though there's 4 pillars, 1 pillar is very, very strong. I guess the psychology in essence then is, if it's a Ringling Brothers tent, it's the big pole in the middle. It's the big pole in the middle, right? So essentially what that is the physicality of myself and the mental capability of trading. The other part is the stop loss. The other part is entry. The other part is maximum gain. Those are the things that I need to. So I need to understand in each part, the components of understanding these. So psychology I've already alluded to. I've discussed it in great depth. It took me a while to become conscious of my subconscious, and learned a little bit about myself. And what I need to do is delve deeper now into the entry, taking profits and taking losses. Those are the primary things that I need to focus on a daily basis until at a point where all my game is A+. Again, there are 4 pillars of trading. These 4 pillars are psychology me. I'll put it into, so it combines it. So me, myself, and I, that's 1, which combines the mind and the body. Okay? That's 1 part of it. That's 1 part of trading. The second part is entry. Entry is quite critical because it's a huge percentage change of where I enter. If I enter at going long when it's reversing down, then I'm going to lose, obviously, and it's going to hit the stop loss, which translates into the stop loss. The third part, which is getting out of the trade as fast as possible, so that it allows me to continue the game and preserve the gains that I have. So the other is to minimize the statement called "I sold too soon." I want to say that because each time I want to maximize my gain. Okay, it's going to take some work. It's going to allow me to change my game totally. It's going to completely transform my game. It's going to change it to the greater. So, so that's how that thing works. There are 4 pillars. I can oversee. So if I take an example of, so I could trade the support and resistance game, and I have to like be a student of it. I have to study it. I have to understand it. I have to become the expert at it. I have to be the A+++ guy in all facets. Those 4 pillars. Okay. Although I say that the psychology is part of it, but it seems to be an overwhelming thing, because if the mind is not there, it's not going to work. Anything that I have in place, it will not work. Okay, the greatest strategy will not be employed because of psychology. That's how things work. All right, so it's been 5 years. I think it's time for me to it's time now to explore this. The greatest impediment was really overcoming myself to see the light. And seeing the light is knowing the importance of what those 4 pillars are. And psychology is the biggest one. Okay, that finishes up my exercise for now. The reality of trading is I constantly require exercises because I tend to love food and I eat lots of food. And one way to burn it off is to exercise. Okay, those are the 4 pillars of trading.